Alright, lesson 7.4, B as in boy, in intermediate algebra. We're still doing absolute values and inequalities, and we are ready for example 4. And we have the absolute value of 4t minus 3 is greater than or equal to 9. Alright, so the greater than or equal to sign lets me know that we're doing an OR, which means we're going to have two separate equations. Now, if you remember right, I said first way to write this equation is to write it exactly as is. The second way of writing this is to write the 4t minus 3, whatever is in the absolute value sign, make the sign the other way, and make the 9 opposite. Okay, now we have two equations that we're going to solve for. Alright, now we just go ahead and solve for t. So 4t less than or equal to, add 3 to both sides, and we get negative 6, and we have an OR. 4t, we add 3 to both sides, that's going to be 12. Divide by 4, and we get t is less than or equal to negative 3 halves, 6/4 reduces, or divide by 4, we get t is greater than or equal to 3. And then all we have to do is graph that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so let's graph this. Negative 3 halves is negative 1.5. So it says it's less than or equal, so I don't want a round one, I want a square one. And it says it's less than, so it's going to go this way. T is greater than or equal to 3, square, and it's greater than 3, so it's going to go that way. And that's your answer. Alright, so let's try a couple more examples here. Hopefully this is kind of clicking and it's not going to be too terrible. Absolute value of 2x plus 3 plus 4 is less than 9. Okay, the only thing different here is we have a plus 4 here. Not a real big deal. You move it to the other side so that you have your absolute value all by itself and your number minus 4, so it's going to be a 5. Okay. Alright, so because it's a less than, it's going to be an and, so we can write this as one complex, so we're going to put 2x plus 3 in the middle, less than symbol, opposite of 5, and the 5 here. And we go ahead and solve it. Subtract 3, negative 8 is less than 2x, which is less than 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, and we get negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 1. And now all we have to do is graph it. Alright, it says that x is bigger than negative 4, but it's not negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's rounded. So I know it's going to be a number over this way because it has to be bigger, but it's not going to be bigger than 1. It's going to be somewhere in the middle there. Alright, and you're done. Example number 6. I'm sorry I'm going kind of fast, but you can always re-watch these videos if you need to. Number 6, we have the absolute value of 4 minus 2t is greater than 2. Alright, so because of the greater than, it is an OR, which means we have two problems. We take the 4 minus 2t out of the absolute value sign and make it greater than 2, or 4 minus 2t out of the absolute value sign, switch the sign around, make the 2 negative, and we solve that one. Alright, so subtract 4, and I've got negative 2t is greater than negative 2, or subtract 4, negative 2t is less than negative 6. Now I'm going to divide by negative 2. When I divide by negative 2, remember the sign switches around. Okay? Or, and again, divide by -2, divide by -2, the sign switches around. Alright, so you end up with those answers. Draw your number line. Alright, so what does it say here? It says that my t has to be less than 1, so this way, or my t has to be greater than 3. That way. Okay, those are my two answers. So when they're split up like this, that means they're going to be split up in your graph. They're not going to intersect at all. Alright, let's do another example. This will be example 7. I guess there's two more here. We've got the absolute value of 7y minus 1 is less than -2. So again, because it's less than, shouldn't be too hard to do. But notice, the absolute value of anything is always a positive. And what am I saying here? I'm saying it could be a negative. Alright, so that means our answer very easily is the null set. There is no answer because there's no real number to put in here for y that's going to take the absolute value and give us a negative number. So as far as example 7, that's really all there is to it. Just for the most part, look and see what that is. If that's negative, then it's going to be the null set. Alright, so let's jump to example 8 and then be done. Absolute value of 6x plus 2 greater than -5. Okay, so example 8 is a little bit different than example 7. So if you remember, example 7 was 7y minus 1 is less than -2. That gave us the null set because of this sign right there. Okay, not only because of that sign, but I guess I should also bring up because of the -2 there. So when your absolute value is less than a negative, the answer is the null set. When the absolute value is greater than a negative, then the answer could be absolutely every number, because any number you put in here, right? Any number you put in here for x is going to give you a number such that when you take the absolute value of it, it's going to give you a positive number, which is always going to be greater than -5, which means if I put a -2 in here for x, I get -12 plus 2, which is -10. The absolute value of -10 is 10, which is bigger than -5. You will always, no matter what number you put in for x in this one, when you take the absolute value of it, you will always get a positive number. And all positive numbers are greater than negative numbers. So any number you put in here for x, when you take even if it gives you a negative answer in here, when you take the absolute value, it's going to give you a positive number which is greater than -5. So that's why any answer will work here. So any answer will work if this is a greater than sign and this is a negative sign. No answer will work because no answer is going to give you a number smaller than -2, because remember, the absolute value of anything is going to give you a positive number. Positive numbers are never smaller than negative numbers. So that's why this one is the null set, because of this less than symbol, and this one is all numbers because this is a greater than symbol. Okay, very, very important to get that, especially when you look in the homework at number 17, 18, those two especially, when you look at 9, 10, and 11, and 12. Looks like those problems are all either going to be all real numbers or the null set for your answer there. So when you're doing those, just make sure you get that. Okay, and I don't think I have to do any examples. As I'm looking at these, pretty much everything there is okay. let's see, I'm giving you 17 to 43 odd, 47, 49, and 50. Okay, so I think you should be okay there. 47, it says write -1. -1 is less than or equal to x minus 5 is less than or equal to 1. What they want you to do is go backwards. You know, normally I give you a problem like the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than or equal to 1, and then you took that and took this and split it up and wrote it like that. They're giving it to you this way and asking you to write it this way, which I just did for you, so I guess that was a freebie. Anyway, I don't really think that 41, 42, 43, or 44 are going to give you any problem. I mean, you do it just like you do any other one. You just have those fractions there. So like number 41, well, let's do number 41 real quick. Okay, so because of the less than symbol, this can be written as 3x minus 2 over 5 is less than or equal to 1/2, -1/2. Okay, then we multiply everything by 5. Then we add 2 to all three sides. So this is going to be written as 4/2. So we have common denominator, so that's -1/2. Less than or equal to 3x, which is less than or equal to, and change this to 4/2. 9/2. Divide all the sides by 3. Notice I made kind of a thicker line there. Invert multiply. So this is 3 over 1, so we're going to multiply by 1 over 3. That's 3 over 1, so that's going to be 9/2 times 1/3. Okay, move that up. Multiply these. -1/6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 9/6, or 3/2. And that ends up being our inequality that we're solving for 41. So, you know, 41. So 42, 43, 44, all the same way. So you shouldn't have any trouble with those. And that is it for lesson 7.4.